Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? One thing we know is that Tony Jones Jr. is going to be on the shelf for a little while with the ankle injury that he suffered on Sunday in the loss to the Giants. So the Saints needed a running back option, and apparently they got it today. You might remember the name Devine Ozigbo, who played collegiately at Nebraska and was actually with the Saints back in 2019 for the preseason and played really well. He was pretty effective as an undrafted rookie out of Nebraska as a runner, as a pass catcher, even in pass protection. But it was one of those deals where the Saints had Alvin Kamara. They had Latavius Murray.
Murray, present.
R.I.P. Not to Latavius Murray.
Murray, present.
Because he didn't die. Just that he's not on the Saints anymore. You understand. And they also had Dwayne Washington on that team. So they just really didn't have a spot for another running back. So they cut him, and he landed in Jacksonville. And for his career, he's had 22 touches, 10 carries for 28 yards, 12 catches for 65 yards. So he's been just a minimally used back throughout his NFL career. But the Saints today signed him off Jacksonville's practice squad. So most of you, I'm sure, know this, but for those that don't, just a little housekeeping. If a player is on the practice squad, they're unprotected. So any team can sign a player off of another team's practice squad, but you have to sign them to the active roster. You can't just take them onto your practice squad. If you want to add them to your 53-man active roster and take up a roster spot, you can sign someone directly. This happened with Austin Reeder from the Saints, who got signed off the practice squad yesterday. So the Saints have, in turn, now signed Ozigbo off of Jacksonville's practice squad. So he is added to the active roster. And I would expect he is going to be active and will play on Sunday in Washington against Washington football team. I have one primary observation, big picture, which is I'm glad the Saints avoided the temptation of going with the aging veteran. And they have done this at times without success. Of course, back in 2017 was when they signed Adrian Peterson. And look, there wasn't a lot of tread left on the tires. And then obviously Alvin Kamara blew up the way he did. And they're like, yeah, we don't need you. See ya. And you had Mark Ingram and you had Kamara. It was great. Great 1-2 punch. I mean, I can't even think back to times when Sean Payton worked out veterans like Edgerrin James at the end of their career. You know, Sean's kind of been tempted by the proven veteran to see if he can, get one last squeeze out of the orange. I'd prefer this, especially at that position, where we see running backs at the age of 30 just fall off a cliff. And the average career of an NFL running back is less than 3 years. So you have a young guy here in Devine Ozigbo who's 25 years old, so he's still young. Because he's only had 25 NFL touches, there's a lot of tread on the tire. It's not like he's battled injuries or anything like that. So you're getting a young, healthy back, fresh leg, healthy back. Someone who's very similar to Tony Jones Jr., who can run and catch, who spent, as we mentioned, 2019 in the preseason with the Saints, so knows, even though it's been a few years, knows your offense, knows your coaching staff, knows your culture. Drew Brees isn't here, obviously, so there's a different quarterback, but a lot of those guys on the offensive side, the offensive line, and Alvin Kamara, in that running back room, are still there. So there is a lot to like about this that makes sense, where Sean Payton feels like I can go sign this guy directly and bring him in, and it's a plug-and-play option. When you sign a player off a practice squad, though, it does guarantee his contract for 3 weeks. So when you just kind of work through it, Tony Jones Jr. obviously won't play this week. Next week's the bye, and then they play Seattle. So Ozigbo, you would presume, is going to be with New Orleans for at least those 3 weeks because his contract has been guaranteed for those 3 weeks. Does he play well enough to hold off Tony Jones Jr. when he's healthy? Yeah, we'll see. I mean, probably not, but I like this as an option. Keep in mind what Tony Jones Jr. has been asked to do. It's the other reason I like this. You're not asking Devine Ozigbo to come in and be a dude for you. I mean, if you needed a starter, you'd go trade for a starter. But in this instance, you're you have Alvin Kamara, who's coming off a career high in rushing attempts. And when you look at what Tony Jones has done through 4 games, he's got 19 rushes for 77 yards and 4 receptions for 10 yards. 4 receptions on 6 targets, by the way. That basically amounts to about 5 touches a game. 4 rushes and 1 reception. That's what Tony Jones's touches amount to. So if that's all you're asking Ozigbo, hey, come in, we're going to hand it off to you probably, 3-4 times, might throw you a pass, just to spell Kamara when he needs to catch a breath, give you a series, maybe not even a full series, but midway through a series if we need to run you out there. That's what he's here to do. And as long as you have someone who can function within this offense, I'm good with it. And we'll talk a little more specifically about this matchup against Washington, but it's one of those games where you just need him to be a supplemental player. And this is a guy that, in my opinion, young, fresh legs, knows your offense, knows the culture. Coaching staff remembered him from 2 years ago, thought highly enough to say, that's the guy we want. I'm good with it. And to make the commitment of signing him off a practice squad and guaranteeing his salary for 3 weeks tells you effectively what Sean Payton and his coaching staff thinks. Now, Sean Payton did meet with the media via teleconference on Wednesday, and he talked about a lot of different things, including offensively what has been so far a lack of explosive plays in this offense.
Generally speaking, some of that comes, they're not all just 30, some of it comes with run after the catch, intermediate throws, and then some of it based on who we're playing and the coverage you're getting. So we'll see how that trends. Obviously, it's something we're paying attention to, and it's something that is a point of emphasis.
He also was asked if there were certain shortcomings right now, some areas that are more concerning than others.
As a coach, you're always each week concerned. You're concerned about the opponent matchup. You're concerned about your depth. From an inward approach, looking at our team, all of it, are things that we can fix and improve upon. And so that's the journey. That's what we're working on right now.
If there is a team where you would figure, hey, open up this offense, this is the opportunity. Washington's defense is allowing 425 yards per game, and that's 307 through the air. This is your opportunity to try to win some matchups on the outside and get big plays in the passing game. Buffalo put 43 on this. I understand Josh Allen and what that offense is. Buffalo put 43 on him. Baltimore put 37 on him. There are opportunities for this offense to get rolling in this ballgame. So let's see how it transpires. But my hope is that Sean Payton, seeing how in the fourth quarter handcuffing his offense costs them a game, my hope is that you see the antithesis of that this week in Washington, because we've talked about it a lot since the summer. Go into the bye at 3-2. Go into your bye with a winning record. Come out of the bye healthier, with a tough schedule, but a healthier roster. But you got to be above 500 going into that bye, and you got to go get this game because you blew it against New York. So you got to find a way to go get this, and I think you got to do it offensively. You got to open up that offense. It's not going to work to just grind out a win the way you did in the fourth quarter against New England. That's atypical in the NFL. You got to keep scoring. Everyone's really good. Most everyone's really good. Have you seen the Lions? Devine Ozigbo joins the Saints, likely for the next 3 weeks. The Saints heading to Washington this week. Here's hoping they can get 3-2. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.